Welcome to CeeLo's Musical Chronicles. This is another episode, so lay back and enjoy.
Passing through the gates where we are taken to a higher realm. So no one wants to hear of that toxic cell. The bell of our ancestors where it's felt. Passing through the gates where we are taken to a higher realm. So no one wants to hear all that toxic cell. When the bell of our ancestors where it's felt. Passing through the gates where we are taken to a higher realm. So no one wants to hear all that toxic cell. When the bell of our ancestors where it's felt. Passing through the gates where we are taken to a higher realm. So no one wants to hear all that toxic sound. Ring the bell of our ancestors where it's felt.
What up, my boy Ka? Bienvenido and welcome. Yo, burning the midnight oil. I've been staying a little bit away, from doing the podcast. I have to take care of family business, you know what I'm saying? And I'm doing a lot of studying, you know what I'm saying? I had to take some quiz, do what I had to do. But I'm back, you know what I'm saying? I want to discuss some things. So Thursday is like a spiritual day night because from the past experience with the Sufi order, Sons of the Green Light, Thursday for us was the day that we all in our own shrine at the house, you know, that's where we enter into the shrine, we build the shrine, light up the candles. I do have candles, but I didn't light them up. So pardon me for that. Maybe next Thursday I go into the whole rituals of that. But I just want to introduce a few things. But let me start off here. I like to get the chant going. You know what I'm saying? Give me a second here. Let me see what I got going on here. Yeah. Let me get the chant going. Also let me get my see who's on Facebook. Get a couple of things going, just to start things the right way, Then I'm gonna just do some of the chant, and do an introduction. So when you start practicing these practices, right? They all have in common. A lot of these orders, what they all have in common is that you fast for throughout the day because you want your mind to be clear. You know what I'm saying? clearing of the mind, and also fasting helps system. Uh, Give me 1 second. It helps the system, yeah, the dichotomy of your system, the digestive system, which is the anabolism and catabolism. But we'll discuss that a little further. A little further. I'm sorry, I'm looking up because I got my other screen up here. But I don't mean to do that. But yeah, let me see. Okay, so I am live. Let me lower the volume here. See who's on here. All right, oh, good. I can see what you see on Facebook, and I can see what you see on YouTube. So, let me get the chat going here. Let me get the chat going. And we start off, and this is the affirmation. Pa takyud. Anuki jawif pa ashuk impa paut. Wokale ashuk kawun jawef niya. Anuki kwasahum impa paut. Wupa paut kawun kwasahum im niya. Anuki wahu ama pa paut. Wupa paut kawun wahu ama niya. Nakuk kodor naja ama kwasahum impa paut. Wo habab ama mushras nakukudor kawan kaleh pafaf nakuk dayur jawe pa paut. Ame wase ame dayarni kawun bakai lake bakai jawef pa paut. Anuki yabe bi nafashni pa paut kawun anuki pa paut padur nakuk padur pa paut amul nakuk amul, which says I'm in the divine love of the all expanding, and all divine love is in me. I am part of the all expanding out. And the all expanding is part of me. I am one as the all expanding. And the all expanding is one as me. I can succeed as part of the all expanding and fail as an individual person. I can be all that I want. I can be all that I want in the all expanding. As long as my want is to stay in the all expanding. I am never by myself. The all expanding is, I am. The all expanding can, I can. The all expanding does, I do. I'm just gonna do that. And then maybe on the next slide we'll do more of the chants and take it further. But let me tell you something about the divine love. What is divine love? Divine caring, right? And the all expanding. So the multiverse is expanding. It's expanding and contracting. It's moving. It's a movement. And if you go into science, you see gravitational waves and levitational waves. It's like it's like a warping. It's moving the multiverse, and they're using devices now to actually experience this. This is science, astrophysics. That divine caring, caring for the divine, the transcendental, that's in me. That's in all of us. We're part of that all expansion. We always look for those dynamics to expand our borders, expand our money, expand our love. Expansion is part of who we are. That is part of you and me. So you are aligned as the all expanding. You're aligned with that. And that all expansion, it's aligned with you and me. Now you can succeed as part of the all expanding because you expand, you reach out your borders, you expand. But you fail as an individual person. You know, like that greedy individual, antisociable person. Fail. And they even cause people around them, because of suppressive personality, it cause people around them to fail. And I'm talking from experience. Now you could be all that you want in this all expansion. You could, if you just expand your mind, expand your caring, expand your borders, just expand. And you could be anything you want. As long as you want to stay like that. You know what I'm saying? Expanding. And you know you never by yourself. Because the multiverse is in you. The multiverse is in you. So you're never by yourself. Me, myself, and I. You know that that's this expansion, this divine love, right? Pout. The Doggins call it pow. Pow. And in the Ma Confederation, Ma Ngala, you know? And when this expansion does, it can do it. It expands. So can you. So can you. You know? Simple. That is the affirmation. So we have to affirm that. We have to break it down, constantly break it down, break it down. Now, this is a spiritual Thursday. This is introduction. Like I said, I'm just scratching the surface now. I'm going to introduction. We're going to go further and further and further and further. So I'm going to stick to this. In one of the things, without revealing too much, but when you're in a quest, a spiritual quest, there's certain questions you must ask. You got to know yourself. And this takes you on an all expansion quest to expand lineage by, again, genetic blueprints, ancestral patterns. So you start expanding your knowledge. You start expanding. And as you start living and expanding, creates this wisdom that you're able to draw knowledge out of, you know? And so I want to touch on the Ma Ngala. Ma Ngala. Ma, the Ma Federation, were those hunter-gatherers around the Nile Valley. Hunter-gatherers that predate ancient Kemet, predate Sumeria, Sumer, predates India, because what we're looking at from the Ma Federation, we're looking at these hunter-gatherers, this Homo habilis and these Homo sapiens, the first one to come out, what they say, Uganda, Nunubans. And so they formed federation, they formed civilization that travel all the way out in through that landmass today we know as Africa. But it wasn't known by Africa back then. They call it Ma. Also, it's known as the Federation. The Fish Federation, because they understood that out of the waters, we came out of the waters, right? Now they have, now they have, they found artifacts, and a lot of it also oral traditions, and they're tracing it back, and they're looking and they're finding artifacts, and they're finding bones and structures, and they're seeing the correlation in both linguistically, like the San people, the people that have one of the oldest genetics of San, the Khoi people, right? The Twa. And then their language is similar. They have click sounds. So you know what is in the water that also have a language and that uses click? Dolphin. Dolphins. Dolphins can also serve as a what they call a doula, assist in birth. Yeah. They have this sonic ray, and they can scan the body, and women can give birth in the water, and the dolphin can assist them. Look it up. Dolphin speaking click and motion. So the San people, you know what I'm saying? Khoi people, Khoi San people, Twa people, the Patahites, the Tahites on the Nile Valley knew this, and they formed a civilization and call it Ma, or like the fish coming out of the water, Ma. Knowing also when the Kemet, it became Ma'at, prosperity or reciprocity, balance. You can see this if you just make the sequence and the connect it linguistically, agriculturally, and anthropology, archaeology, following that. It all has to fit together, and you see it. I want to share something with you right now. I want to share something with you real quickly. Hold on 1 second. Give me 1 second, y'all. Very interesting. The only person that's here, and I don't understand that language, but it is either Romanian or Russian. I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, saludos, saludos, greetings, rahubat to you. Peace. So, what I was saying, you can see by yeah, I was gonna bring something up over here. Um, oh, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where are you? Where are you? Huh. Okay, where did it go? Hmm. Don't do this to me. I'm sorry. I gotta find my Hmm. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Here. I'm gonna share my screen on this here. Because I want you to look at this. There's a lot of sources out there. A lot of sources. You just have to dig through. And so real quickly, I'm gonna share this with you. Real quickly. Share screen here. Share real quickly. And then we're gonna bring it up. All right. Uh, Here you go. Here you go. Here we go. This is the general history of Africa, part one, the methodology and the African prehistoric. Okay. And this is an UNESCO doc. When you look at this, oh, yeah, hold on a second. Okay. I didn't want to do that. Hold on a second. Oh, here we go. Let me do it like this better. Okay. And this is a great source of book because it explains how archaeologists and anthropologists and the things they have to consider. And it talks about the history, prehistory. prehistory, predating, and it explains a lot of you know about the Ma Feder- Federation, and it it's 800 and what is it 840 pages. Okay, 840 pages that was compiled together for the UNESCO, a United Nation education sector society. What's what I'm looking at here? So I'm just trying to get to some headings here. Oh man, it's just so much. You mean the more recent people and their coach. So this is works that has been comprised. So here, the place of history in African society. Man is an historical animal, and African man is no exception. Just like everywhere else over the country, he created his own history and his own idea of it. Right? On the factual level, the proof and products of this creative ability are there before our eyes in the form of methods of agriculture, cooking, pharmacy, common law, political organization, so and so, religious ceremony, and so and so and so. Mythical times and social time. Okay, the ethnological studies, one gets the impression that Africans were submerged, almost drowned in mythical time, a vast ocean without shores and without landmarks. But there's a lot of history that has been passed down through oral traditions and also because of scientists going to that landmass. So remember that, and if you go on and you see, recent trends in African historiography and their contribution to history in general, it goes into Darwin. It goes into naming all of the, Neanderthal, the Homo erectus, Homo habilis, and on and on and on and on. Like I said, this is 840 pages. So I'm almost down to, I think, 600 and something. So I'm still reading this. The good thing about this, let me tell you, it's that it's just so amount of information on it. So let me stop sharing. Stop sharing this. Okay, stop sharing. So when you read through these documents and you read through some of the works that a lot of the anthropologists and the archaeologists and the work that they did, and they documented it, and then UNESCO took it, you know, and preserve it, because it's preserving the oral traditions and the history of Africa in general. So it speaks about the Ma Federation, called the Ma Ngala, you know, and I'm going to go in one day and I'm going to actually read you that part so you can see, so you get an idea, take you back in time. So this again is ancestral patterns, genetic blueprints. There's this expansion. When you start expanding your mind and start expanding your lineages, it it builds character and personalities. You know what I'm saying? So, but here's the thing: when you have conversations like this, you're gonna run into a few skepticism, skepticism, you know. And but if you have your thoughts in order and your reason, right? Because truth is truth, reason is truth. It lines up, it clings on together, fits perfectly like a puzzle. And when you have that, and you're looking at the sequence, you investigate it. You look at omitted data. You fill in the pieces. You put those pieces together as the best you can, because we didn't live at that time, but we have a sense of reasoning, and we follow those patterns. You know, and sometimes what happened is that people break those patterns, and when they break those patterns, you have to investigate and find those missing omitted data and the omitted time sequences, you know? Because so the conversation, um, you know, well, that's another conversation. I don't want to go there now. We're going to keep it spiritual. But the point I'm making is that when it comes to spiritual practice, you have to know who you are. You have to ask those questions. Who am I? Where am I? How am I? And as you expand, the all expanding out. When you expand your genetics and your lineage, and you go on and on and on, right? Through using these data. That data, you know what I'm saying? So you start expanding, you know. You start knowing we're inquisitive like that. You know what I'm saying? You want to know, well, my father, my grandfather, my great grandfather. When you engage in that genetics and lineage, your personal lineage, and you start seeing how it all goes into humanity, you create a strong bond with Earth magnetic field and also the cosmos, because stars also has a genetic lineage blueprint. Stars. But that's another conversation. You know, I think the problem is also with religion, keeping it spiritual. I guess religion sort of like replaced that with the lineage and the ancestral blueprint of the character they call Jesus Christ. You see it, and it's through Joseph, and you see that when you start reading in the Bible. So that's why you have a lot of people that they don't believe in DNA, and that's not important to them. What's more important is the lineage the lineage and the ancestral pattern of Jesus Christ. But they won't recognize their own. So that's a problem we have, with a lot of groups, and they're afraid to accept that their lineage and their ancestral pattern runs all the way into that landmass they call Africa today. And it goes all the way down back into the Ma Federation, where the first hunter-gatherers, agricultural and hunter-gatherers that migrated out. You know what I'm saying? They migrated out. And they hunter-gatherers, they migrated, they formed civilization. So the first civilization to form society of civilization was that of the Ma Federation. They call it the Ma Federation, the Fish Federation. All you have to do is find it, and you can trace it. You know. So sometimes when we have that conversation, especially when speaking about the Caribbean and South America, it's also you can trace it back to that. But you see, there are people that don't want it. I don't know. It's just like, but you got to be patient, and you have to give them the missing pieces so they could put the pieces together for themselves. They got to put the pieces there for themselves. So that's part of it when you deal with spiritual works. And the night like Thursday, you want to ask that question. The more you expand, I remember, I'm the all expanding. Out, all expanding, right? Divine caring. Shook, right? Anuki, shook, right? Out, which is trace it back into that area in Mali, the Dogons in that area, into ancient Kemet, and they use the word pow. One day I will give you the necessary documents where you can read that. The glyphs that the Dogons in their language, comparison with the Nile Valley and the Kemet. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of information out there. A lot of information. I'm just right now scratching the surface for you. When you realize this and you see the connectivity and you see this and you say, man, humanity, we're all, this is humanity, you know? Oh, sure, there has been atrocities and certain, again, the 20% of the antisociable. And I gotta always go back to that because I'm telling you, I'm experiencing things now and I say, yo, this is real talk. Even though that's the way that um Scientology explains it. But if you go into psychology, right? Sociology and psychology, and if you just open up, if you just observe things around you and you see how things, there's always a cause and effect. This is now Valley, right? Tahuti taught that. Hermes, Tahuti, right? What they call thought, cause and effect. So you have to find the cause. You see the effect, you have to look for the cause, right? And if you get into the cause, you're gonna get to know through wisdom what kind of effect it's gonna have. You know, so you can see this played out. You can see this. And so, yeah, in humanity, there has been atrocities. There has been, but this is again a section of humanity. But the majority of humanity doesn't is not like that. Are very sociable. We have to be sociable in order to create societies and civilizations and societies, communities, and so on. So, in order to thrive, those hunter gatherers form a society, a confederation. That's why they call the Ma Federation. And we're gonna impact that and go really deep into that word Ma, 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 Ma Ngala, or Mat, Mat. Okay? And we can trace it back. You know? So yeah, humanity, you know, when you really look at it, there is a section, again, the antisociable, 20% antisociable, and even around your family in your house, you could see it. Look for the cause. Why I can't complete my projects, and why I'm having problems in this, and why I can't do this, and why can't I do that? You know why? Look for the cause of it. And the cause is usually because there's a conflict, it's a third person, it's another person, and it's that suppressive personality. That suppressive personality that is the catalyst and puts everything in motion. And so you have to fight it. You use different methods. I got crystals around. I constantly got my sage burning, trying to create a lovable, a divine, caring environment so that the antisocial personality sticks out like a sore thumb. You know? And if they're honest with themselves, right, it can change. But I'm gonna tell you something, the majority doesn't want any help. I know. You know? So in spiritual work, again, you're doing shadow work. And remember, I spoke before about the shadow work, that when you look at your genetics and you look and you go back into DNA and all that, it casts a shadow of separatism. If you look and you're sitting at your shrine, right, with your candle, you're showing your shrine and you're asking yourself certain questions. You fast and you know you have not taken any alcohol, smoke anything, taking no drugs or no nothing, you're clean. That's the best time to sit down in front of a mirror or sit down quietly, meditate, and ask these questions. And then look at the light, the pleasure, and it casting the shadow of guilt. So you look at the shadows of the guilt. What kind of guilt I'm holding? Well, because the light casts a shadow. Well, I'm having guilt because I'm involving myself in certain pleasure. So now, and now in the now valley, I say happy valley, right? In that science teaches us that pain is offset by pleasure, and pleasure is offset by pain. The more fun you have, guess what? Get ready, here comes the pain. Once you experience so much pain, it's going to be offset by pleasure. You know, that's again light casting shadow. So in spiritual work, right? And we'll do this soon. We'll light up the candles and we're going to ask ourselves certain questions to put us in a quest, and then do that shadow work. But we have to be very, very careful with that because it's going to bring up certain things. Certain things are going to be exposed, and sometimes those things doesn't want to be exposed. I was just watching VH1, the Lisa Left Eye, so sad. Lisa Left Eye documentary. Wow, wow, Lisa Left Eye. That sister was on a journey, and she did the best as she can on this journey. But then she said it. It's like something was following her, something was after her. It's that shadow. And I wish if she would have had time, she could have done, she was trying to do that shadow work, cleaning her body, trying to do that shadow work. But again, and especially in the music industry, there's a lot of antisociable people in that industry. Just look at what the industry has become today. A lot of antisociable people that they manipulate. They manipulate artists. They rob from them because that's an antisociable person that likes to rob and steal. So they rob and steal, and those contract, those deals, they're ingenuine, they're not honest, doesn't live by certain morals and ethics. And what happened with TLC was Pebbles and L.A. Reid, the face wreck, L.A. Reid, and it all came down from Clive Davis. You know how many people that man has robbed? Artists that have died on his watch? And I don't want to go there anyway. But the industry is filled with a lot of antisociable people. I think if she would have, and she knew it, she was trying to get away. You know, when she went to the Honduras, Dr. Sabi was a very spiritual man, one of the elders, Bessem. And, you know, a very interesting documentary. You got to watch it. Very interesting documentary. But anyway, these suppressive personalities are around you, so you have to be very careful when you do shadow work. You expose them, and you deal with it from a distance, always from a distance. 1 second. That is so important in doing that, but you have to be careful because when you start exposing things, you know, people don't like that. They don't like that. You know, they become very disgruntled and dangerous and harmful. You know, so you have to use your healing abilities. You know, but you have to look at yourself first. You got to heal within yourself and arm yourself. You know, that's when it comes to willpower. Your solar plexus. Your solar plexus is the area of the willpower where you purify. That's a purification. You can purify everything by showing this willpower to change things around you. But remember, that light casts a shadow. What is the shadow that it casts? Solar plexus. Oh, shame. Shame. Shame is the shadow of willpower. Shame. So you got to look at you got to look at that also when you do it. So on Thursday you sit down, in the Sons of the Green, like we ask questions, um, and we did the shadow work as to you know complete ourselves, put the pieces together, right? Complete ourselves, become a perfect whole person again, and live by this affirmation because now you're expanding your knowledge, you're expanding yourself, you know. And so I want to get too much into preaching here, but anyway, so um, I briefly discussed, we briefly touched upon the act of spirituality or spirit on Thursday, which is two. Again, spirit, spiritus, breath, character, and personality, and how to strengthen your character and personality. And this is different ways to do it. Show me a person, a spirited person with a lot of character, personality, knows their origin. They know their origin. They know their family story or history. They know their family lineage, right? They know their ancestral patterns and the genetic blueprint. They know it. It creates that spiritual person. Again, a very strong character and personality. So it's very, very important. Yeah. So you become a light, a star, super like Lisa left. I said a supernova. You know, you become powerful, a true star when you deal with it. There's so much involved in it, but which we'll go into that. There's a lot of, again, foods we eat, and stuff like that, and the diet, and also the questions we have to ask to ourselves and do that shadow work, and so that the light, enlightenment, and the enlightenment shines brighter, brighter, brighter. So in the solar plexus, you have willpower, we cast the shadow of shame, but the enlightenment self is purification. Because that heat, fire purifies. Fire can purify things around them. Purification takes place when you unleash this power from the solar plexus. But at the same time, you try to limit the amount of shame around you. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of work. So that's spiritual work. You know, and that's again Sufi. That's Happy Valley, what we call Now Valley. I'm using the word happy. That's the way the ancient Kemetic, according to Budge, according to the hieroglyphic, which means sacred writings, it's say happy, 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 the valley, the happy valley that extends all the way from Uganda, all the way up into the Delta, you know. And so this federation, my federation, through oral traditions and mainly oral traditions that has been passed on and on and on through songs and and um, and sacred glyphs, again hieroglyphics and certain stone papyri papyri. um, you see this observance for natural nature. So you got to put yourself in that place, natural nature around a happy valley. That's the origin of it all, right there. The origin, very, very interesting. So I don't want to stay here too long, yo. Want to keep it on the hour mark, and so what we got? We got 15 minutes. And well, no one is asking questions. Hey, Luis Salsa, peace, mi hermano. Uh, uh, peace. So yeah, even if you go back, or Luis Salsa's in here, even if you go back into even music, salsa, you know what I'm saying? Which comes out of the mambo, right? The salsa was a New York thing. You know, it started with the Fania, you know, a New York thing, but it comes out of the mambo. And the mambo comes out of the Congo, you know, because the first mambo that was created, the first mambo that we heard, that we have records of, was in Cuba with Arsenio Rodriguez, who was born in the Congo. He was blind, tres player, and piano, mainly tres, the Arsenio Rodriguez. He was born in the Congo, and he got blind because I think a donkey hit him in the head or something. He lost his eyesight, something like that. But from the Congo, so you got conga, bongo, conga, right? You could trace all these words back to Africa, Bantu, and you could trace it back to the Congo. So if you trace it back, you know, it gives you a more in-depth look into the rhythms. Like when I started getting together with Tobos Lubamba and he was playing these rhythms, I should play you something here that Tobos. I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to get an interview with this guy, but yeah, check this out. Check this out.
One tom tom.
Yes. And it's like timba. See, it's like a timba. This is and that's Tobo Zumbamba from the Congo. I'm trying to get that interview with him, you know, so he can, you know, we can really, really go in depth with these rhythms. And so that's when you trace the rhythms back. And then of course, you know, with the salsa, the New York thing, and you know, and then with the Taino influence with the Guiro, right, and the Maraca, the Guiro and stuff like that. And then of course from the Iberian Peninsula, the form of expression, you know what I'm saying, with the piano and the bass and stuff like that, and the horn section, created what you know as salsa. So when you know the history, when you trace it all the way back, you get to see, you know, the fundamental of the music, and you can follow it. And it also leads you into establishing also a genetic pattern, an ancestral and genetic blueprint. You know what I'm saying? So you get to, you know, you get to follow. A lot of times that's how I do with the music, you know, uh, is that, you know, it's so important. And again, I'm going to stress it again. Make sure your children get into music, or you get into musicology or studying an instrument, and your children, because this is so, so important. I've gained a lot of inspiration because you can learn a lot about things, the origin of things through inspiration. So when you're a musician, you gain a lot of inspiration, or an artist, inspiration, especially when you engage in the history, the 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 development of that, right? When you engage in the development of music and that, it helps you put pieces together. It's logical. It helps you put pieces together. So you take that methodology, and you take it to any subject, but you follow the music. And you know, people do that also with agriculture and linguistics. agriculture, the food, and stuff like that. You know, at turns, sometimes you have to be careful with that because there's been a lot of migrating. You know what I'm saying? A lot of bartering, migrating, and amalgamation of different cultures. So, you know, you have to take that into consideration also. You know what I'm saying? But but the great thing about it is that, you know, through these tones and frequencies and following that vein of music, something that muses us, you get to see it helps activate, it helps us solidify in any different subject. So if I'm talking about drums, I could take the drums all the way back into Mali and all the way back into Kemet. You know Kemet? I don't have the picture here, man. I gotta put that picture up. It's in the book that I'm writing. I got it as the cover. They had bata in Kemet, or not bata, but they had skin, a drum with skin on both sides like this, play like that. They do that in India. They have that in India. They have it in Kemet. They have it in the Now, and they have it in Ifa, the bata drum, right? So you know what I'm saying? Just by tracing percussion, I'm able to see the correlation. I'm able to put those pieces together and then find artifacts that backs it up. Man, it's like an orgasm. You know what I'm saying? People do that with food, and people do that with linguistics. You know what I'm saying? So, very interesting. Um, so just want to tell you that there's work to be done. Work to be done. And so the first Earth magnetic field deals with ancestry patterns and genetic blueprint. And remember that casts a shadow of separatism. But that's why we have the affirmation. You know what I'm saying? And we want to be careful with that. And that's, you know, important. That's the foundation. That's the Earth magnetic field. You know? And so, it's part of doing the shadow work. I don't want to stay here too long, but um, I think that these practices are so very important because, again, it helps develop your character, personality, your spirit, and it stops people from engaging in certain narratives that is just, very destructive, anti-sociable. I notice people that speak a certain narrative, and you see that antisocial behavior are people that don't have affinity for art, music, or even for certain foods. You know what I'm saying? Linguistics. They just don't. And, they're revealing their hands. So how can you help a brother like that? Sometimes you can't. But again, you have to set the record straight. Set the record straight, yo. It's not happening on my watch. Not when I'm around. That's why I'm telling you right now. I mean, I think that I'm being avoided. You know what I'm saying? And I think, when it happened, when I spoke to an Israelite brother, just to give you, just to deter you a little bit before I close out, I had a conversation with an Israelite elder, and I asked him a question, something that we used to do as Ansar, Sufi, right? I asked him the question. I said, if you're an artist, right, or a musician, you create a beautiful piece, right? Would you put your initials on it? Would you put your initials on something that you created as so beautiful? Right? You will. So if God, some force created humanity, a man, did he put his initial in our bodies? The brother couldn't answer that. And I said, well, where would we find that initial? Where would we find that clue? You know, he couldn't answer. And I told him, simple. First of all, it's here in the gut, right? You know, that's the foundation, right? It's your breath, the breath of life. So you say what? Right? Or they chant, or la, right? La, Yahuwah, right? I told him, don't, that's where that comes from. The brother was like, I mean, they were like, their mouth was like, and I said, but this we knew. This is ancient. This is stuff go way back when we were walking in that school of thought. You know, I tell them that's where they get that from. Yeah, yeah. And then, in Sufi says that the diaphragm makes the symbol of Allah. Allah. You know what I'm saying? They say Allah, Allah, Ya huwa, ya ma ya'lamu ma huwa illa huwa. Because that's the you pucker your you know, that body, you want to resuscitate that body, squeeze it, you pump it, and you go right into the mouth. That's where that comes from. That's what that is. Not to tell you that that's the name of the Most High. No, no. But that's the breath of life. That it all deals with and deals with oxygen. It deals with the sun. It goes further, further, further into that. But I was telling the brother, you know, just trying to give him a little something to hit him in a certain direction. You know, when you talk about the Most High, take the Most High frequency. What's sitting Most High? In order for something to sit Most High, you gotta have it's got to be pinned against something that's not that high, right? That's and you pin it against it, so it becomes the Most High. But what sits up Most High? Stars. Stars are sun. Sun's a star. That sun. Like I say in Psalms 84:11. God is a sun. S-U-N. You know what I'm saying? In biblical narrative. You know what I'm saying? It's the sun. It's all sun worship. They worship the sun. So they name their prayers after that, right? Salat al-Maghrib. They and even talk about Abraham going from the east to the west because they following the sun. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west, so they heading in that direction. You know, so it's related. You know what I'm saying? So when you talk about in that narrative, so I could put myself in that, frame of mind, just to be in that frame of mind, be in it but not of it, and then say, "Yo, this is bigger than what." I'm just trying to find out what I don't know, and this is bigger than this is expanding the all expanding, pa out, pa out, pa out. This is what this is, all expansion. You know, so that's where we at. And I know many people gonna be like, this and that. Yeah. I don't. I'm just trying to. I'm in the thought pattern. I'm thinking. Yeah. So, I'm gonna leave it there, man. Um, peace and peace and blessings. This I was watching a podcast. Brother was telling me about the whole blessings is mean bloodletting. So I said no. So I say and bliss. I don't say bliss like for bliss. So I said, you know what? I'm going to use blessing. Bess. Bess was the chief or the leader of the Twa people that came from Uganda, Nuban, the Twa people. Bess, and he was revered in ancient Kemet. Okay, Bess. So I said blessings to you. You know what I'm saying? Take it to the origin. Take it to the happy. The happy valley is the happy valley. You know what I'm saying? So You know, it's interesting. So, and not peace. All and blessings to you. Not a piece. The all expansion. So I'm gonna say all and blessings to you. There you go. All and blessing to you. Okay. I hit the 1 hour mark, and I appreciate everybody. And listen, that's my PayPal. And for those of you who finds it in your heart, and this is my Cash App. Okay, that's my Cash App. Because pretty soon I'm going to be doing these classes, so it's going to take a lot of time, a lot of effort, and it's going to take some works, and I can share it also. Anybody that's going to need it, I can share it. Some documents and books and stuff like that you can download and stuff like that. I want to ask you for that, but it helps. Again, that's my PayPal. Okay, CeeLo's 1961. I'm 60 years old, and then that's my Cash App. Okay, Cash App, and many people do PayPal. I also have Zealous, Venmo. You know what I'm saying? At one time, because I had to do it for, I took I think an Uber one time. The guy said, "Oh, pay me in Venmo." I don't know Venmo. Zealous because of my bank. Zealous is from bank to bank. You know what I'm saying? With a phone number and bank. So, but I don't use that because then I'll have to give you my phone number. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, you get a chance, um, listen, subscribe, share, like the YouTube channel, Silos Conga, just look for Silos Conga, right? And then on my Facebook also, be friend, like, and share the Facebook page also, Silos Conga, okay? And again, that is my PayPal. Thank you very much. Ahum, and I'm going to be out. Okay, peace. I mean, all and blessings to you.